Today we're looking at the new Spring 22 Hirundos harness. It is a sport climbing oriented harness that prioritizes comfort from support, and it prioritizes movement and flexibility and lightweight. It's one of the favorite harnesses of Petzl harness followers, and we've updated it with a lot of nice little things for 2022, a little more comfortable, a little higher quality construction. We start with a split strap design that is going to distribute your weight on the edges of the harness here. And then we add to that this really high quality EVA closed cell foam. It lasts a lot longer than EPE foam, which you'll see in some harnesses from other manufacturers. It's going to stand up to a lot more abuse, and it's going to retain that springiness that you need to get that comfort. The other thing that the foam does is it adds a little bit of structure. You can see here that we've split your nylon load-bearing straps here into two, and a little bit of that stiff foam in the middle here in the Hirundos, the Aquila, and the Fly, which is also a fused frame harness. It helps it not collapse in on itself in a U shape like that. So super comfortable, very good durability from that foam, which means it's going to be comfortable for a very long time. And then on the very inside, we put a very lightweight mesh. You'll notice it's a little lighter weight. It has a lighter hand feel than the original Hirundos. And the reports from the field are that's very comfortable, doesn't absorb as much sweat. It moves very easily. Just a really lightweight, flexible, high-performance harness. We've removed some of the bias tape. We have these nice smooth edges without any bias tape. Bias tape is kind of a cap on a seam, if you will. We've done some stitch through on these gear loops. You can see it's contrasting here with orange stitching on the black. And that just helps us get to the strength requirement and the durability requirement for our gear loops that we have in-house here. Another note is that if you've got the old Hirundos, you will notice that you used to get just a little bit of nylon here as your little tagline loop. And what we've done is we've enlarged that a lot. We've slung it down low here, very close to the functionality of a fifth gear loop now for your little tagline loop. And if you're a sport climber or if you're a trad climber who's going fast and light, we think that you'll find this Mondo tagline loop to be a good compromise between space and weight there. It is a little bit narrower than its brother, the Aquila. And that's because for the Hirundos, what we're focusing on is that movability, that flexibility, gymnastic movement, high performance sport climbing, all that kind of stuff. Whereas the Aquila, we wanted a little bit of extra width here to give you more support for longer days, longer hangs, all those sorts of things. You get a flexible dynamic leg loop here without adjustment. We find that it'll stay snug if it's sized correctly for you, and it'll expand a little bit as you lift your leg. It'll close a little bit as you lower your leg back down. Really nice Dyneema belay loop here. It's a little thinner than most of our other belay loops, but not a cause for concern, just keeps the weight down, strength is comparable. And we cover these tie-in points with HMPE, which is also Dyneema, of course, is the brand name. And what that does is it lowers the friction on your tie-in points between your tie-in points and your rope or any other gear that you're putting there, and it extends the durability of those tie-in points. Your double back HD buckles, this is a little bit of a smoother buckle than on many of our harnesses. It's really nice, it's easy to loosen, and it's easy to tighten, very good action there. The gear loops are formed a little bit so that they poke out from the side of the harness, and your rear gear loops are slung very low so that they stay out of the way of a backpack, and you can still just pop back there and get one. It's a really nice movement for your hands to pop low as it is to pop up high on those front gear loops. You'll notice that there's a little bit of a harder component in the front gear loops, and that's so they stay rigid. They kind of keep their shape, they kind of keep your quick draws nice and accessible there. And then this foam on the rear gear loop, it just adds a little bit of structure without getting rigid, so it won't get caught on anything, but it doesn't really flop around so much. New this year for the Hirundos line in particular is we have a black Hirundos. You'll be able to get it in black, or you'll be able to get it in this very classic Petzl orange. We've got 4 sizes in this: extra small, small, medium, and we've got a large. And the medium comes in at a 310 gram weight. And these are all priced at $99.95, so MSRP just at $100. If you've been wearing the Hirundos, you'll notice that we took the ice clipper loops off of it. And we did that because we've got this new Keratool Evo that'll work really well without an ice clipper loop. We're freeing you from those prescribed ice clipper loop locations. You can put as many of these as you want on your harness pretty much wherever you want to with a nice soft HMPE attachment. That snugs down, and there are some other nice little tech pieces that we've done to improve the Keratool Evo. But for now, all you need to know, fits great on the Hirundos without an ice clipper slot, and very secure tool and screw storage. So this is a high performance sport climbing harness. We get alpinists who really like the Hirundos if they're okay with fixed leg loops. And they're comfortable in those, then we get a lot of alpinists who say, hey, I don't need that 5th gear loop. So let's run through the line real quick and find out where that alpinist is gonna land on that harness lineup. At the beginning of our harness line, we start with the Corax. It has frame construction. It's a really great way to make a harness. It's pretty comfortable. You get a good long-term hang in it, but it's not quite as plush as it could be, and it's not quite as lightweight and sleek as it could be. When you go up to a plush harness design, you get into our endo frame harness. This is Sama, Selena, Ajama, and Luna. These are very cushy. They have a lot of pressure distribution up and down the waist belt. They have some EVA foam in there. They've got a 3rd layer of mesh with a little bit of foam that adds an air conditioning effect. Your long hangs, your long days, your multi-pitch, that's your endo frame line. Then we get into the Hirundos and the Aquila. This is our fuse frame line. And this is starting to strike a balance between that really great flexibility that you want for high performance and that low weight that you want for those long days, but you're not sacrificing so much comfort. You still have some EVA foam in there to give you a little bit of that cush. We have some mesh in here to help you wick some sweat away and breathe a little bit. And the general theme of these harnesses is that it's a supportive comfort where it's cradling you, it's distributing pressure evenly, but it's not quite that cush all day, slightly heavier comfort that you get from the endo frame. You go trim level, if you will, above that, you get into our Sitta line. The Sitta has wire frame technology, and it's got lines of HMPE that distribute your pressure. And this is gonna be your super fast and light, super high performance. I don't need comfort foam. I just want that pressure distribution, and I'm moving fast and I don't want anything to weigh me down. So if you ranked them 1, 2, 3, 4, this is our 3rd level of harness, but really it comes down to what are you doing with it? What kind of comfort do you need from it? Does it fit you right? All of those questions.